Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Everyone, good afternoon. On behalf of HSCQ Professions, I formally welcome to you in this food safety awareness session. Food safety awareness session, as you may know that the company Drive is now planning to go for the food safety certification of ISO, which means that there are certain protocols, there are certain requirements which we need to follow. As we know that, mashallah, our products, they are going in different kind of companies, starting from Sabe to the food companies, to Arasco, and to many other subsidiaries of Sabe. So the idea is that to capture as much market as possible, we are not going to be limited to the Sabe or the chemical companies only. We have to come into the food sector also, which is a big market in the Saudi Arabia. So when we are doing the activities with our food companies, we need to follow certain requirements. And one of the major requirement which is internationally recognized is to have the food safety certification of ISO. Like before, you had the quality management system for ISO. Similarly, now you will have the food safety system of ISO. Okay. I just forget to get the introduction. Let's start with you.
My name is Ravi. I'm quality and safety manager. I've been working in that for the past 7.5 years.
And you will be the one who will be looking after.
Inshallah.
Now, this is Mohammed Ismail. I have been working here 7 years, last half year. Sound option.
It's a maintenance.
I remember last time we had quality.
Yeah, my name is Avesh Kumar. I'm working as a production supervisor since 2017 in production. Myself, Gullam, I was here since 7 years. I just kept the leader. And working as a since 2011.
My name is Anas Khan. Let him check.
Introduce yourself.
You can introduce you.
No problem.
He does not need
My name is Mohammed Faisal. I'm working here. I was working as a marketing manager. Responsible for
Thank you. We have our colleague, Mr. Mohammed Mazdi. Please.
I'm food safety trainer. I'm doing for my team for food safety from
Thank you. My name is Anas Khan, associated with HSCQ Professions as a business manager, looking after the operations here in the Saudi Arabia and also in Pakistan activities. I'm certain, involved with certain kind of activities. As far as my professional record is concerned, I have been working for last 17 years in the field of quality, safety, food safety, and environment. Mainly involved in 3 kind of activities. We do the consulting activities for the organizations to prepare them to go for the ISO certification. Similarly, we also do the training. I'm approved tutor for FSMS, for FSSC, for high field, for IOSH, for OSHA Academy, for certain, and similarly for ERCA and CQI for delivering the lead auditor courses. Apart from the training activities, we are also involved in auditing activities. Like we do the audit, second audit, suppliers audit on behalf of the audit. I'm approved auditor for Nestle, Unilever, Kraft Food, Reckitt and Beneficer, who do the audit for their suppliers. So I hope, inshallah, that we will be able to make your organization to be ready to go for the ISO certification. And there are 2 parts of this certification preparation. One of the part is to have the awareness session, right? Once you will have the awareness that what are the major requirements of the standard, then you will be able to apply this. The other part of the consultation is to have the documentation prepared. So we will also be working on making the new documentation as you already have some documentation regarding the quality management system. So we would like to modify the same procedure to upgrade them for meeting the requirements of food safety system also, in order to avoid too many documents. So the idea is that we need to keep the minimum documentation. So those people who are working in different areas, they don't feel that this is an additional thing which we have to do. It's a part of your routine, it's a part of your process. Yes, maybe 5 to 10 documents you have to fill initially, but when it comes to a routine activity, hardly 2 or 3 documents you have to fill on the regular basis. But definitely it's a requirement for a standard, it's an international standard, and it's a requirement of your customers also. So we have to follow their requirements in order to continue our business, right? So when we talk about food safety, as I told you that the food safety is applicable to any product or services which comes under the category of food. When we say any category of food, it could be a food manufacturing, it could be a food storage, it could be a food transportation, it could be the logistics of food. So since you are not manufacturing the food directly, but your products are being used for the food storage. So that's why your clients or the standard, they want to ensure that your products also meet the food safety standard. For example, if it is a water bottle, the company Brain is making the water basically. They are producing the water. The bottle, it might be possible they are not producing. But what will happen if my bottle is neat and clean, but my bottle is dirty? My bottle has some foreign particles. My bottle has some traces. So would you like to take it from the market or no? If they say no, wallahi, our water is the best water. It has been produced on highest level of hygiene and food safety standards. But at the end of the day, the product is not enough, because we know that there is always a chance of contamination. If the container, the storage, which is going to be used for the containment of food, it is not clean, still we will get the food contamination. And once we are going to have the food contamination, the outcome will not be good, right? We cannot say that this product is not up, is up to the mark. Whether bottle is dirty or whether water is dirty, when you are going to make the complaint to Brain, you will say that I purchased this bottle and it has foreign particles. If they say no, we have the water and bottle comes from another place. As a customer, as a consumer, it's not your issue. From where they are taking the labels, from where they are taking the caps, from where they are taking the bottle. You are purchasing a full package. So similarly, when you are supplying your drums to the food companies and they are going to keep the food products in this drum, so it might be possible that there is a chance of contamination. Our food drums can have certain foreign objects. Our food drums can have certain foreign particles, which can affect in 2 ways. The first effect, that they will affect the product which is inside the food, inside the drum. The second, that once it is going to the consumer of your customer, he doesn't know from where they have taken the drum. They will say, see, this is your product. I have opened the drum. I have seen these kind of issues in the product. So we have to be very careful. Always remember, the quality issues somehow can be manageable. The environmental issues somehow can be manageable. But health and safety issues and food safety issues cannot be managed, because it's a direct threat to human. Right? If the quality issues are coming, our business will be lost, but nobody is going to die. If the food safety issues come, if the health and safety issues come, the persons are going to die. So that's why internationally, it is going to be considered as one of the most critical thing which we have to do. I think your guy in the Riyadh has joined. Okay. So that's why we need to focus on the food. That's why we need to be very careful. You can
That's just about 60% on their.
so you can just imagine that the food containing the drum, it is being used by your family, right? The drum containing the food is being used or it is being consumed by your family. So what do you want to have with your family? To keep them safe or to tell them, okay, no problem, eat the dirty food or even eat the contaminated food? No, nobody of us wants to eat the food which is contaminated. So whether the contamination will come from the product or from the packaging, both are important for us as a consumer, both are equally important for us. So we need to take care of our product in such a way that this product is a food product. I remember I went to perform a couple of audits in Marlboro company, right? Philip Morris International cigarette. So this Marlboro company, they are producing cigarette. So when I went there and I was doing the audits, I've seen they are following all the requirements of food safety. Surprise! This is what I told him when we become, a bit familiar with the manager there. And one day he was just smoking and I was also there. I just asked him friendly that at one stage you are producing, your product is causing cancer. And when we see the production or when we see all the processes, they are following the very good requirements of food safety. Even the bud, the foam which they are going to use in cigarette is food grade. The glue which they are going to use for the paper and the bud is also food grade. So I asked him why it's like this. In Pakistan, we used to say right? So he told me that my product is going into the mouth at the end of the day. The after effects of my product is not my concern. My concern is when the consumer is consuming my product, he should be feeling that I am taking a product which is following the requirement of food safety. It is safe for my mouth. If he is going to see any foreign contamination on my product, he is not going to take my product because it goes directly into the mouth. So now see this level of care all the companies are taking. That at the end of the day now, SASO made one of the regulation, SFDA made one of the regulation that all the cosmetics companies who are operating in the kingdom, they have to take the cosmetic certification. They have to take the medical devices certification. They are just importing from outside and they are trading here. It comes in the drums, vitamin tablets, these kind of tablets. I mean, they don't require prescription. But they say no, if you are selling or if you are trading these kind of products, you have to. So now we can see that it's the culture change. It's the culture change. Before we were following, okay, Aramco is saying, so then we will be doing. Sabiq is saying, then we will be doing. Now the things are improving on the government level, and which is good for us also as a consumer. That whatever product I'm going to use, I shall be confident that this product is following the requirement. If I'm taking a tablet, I must be sure that the tablet which I'm going to take, okay, Shifa is from Allah, but it is following the requirements of the medicine, right? It does not contain any other than any medicine raw material. So this is very important. That even if our customers are not going to ask sometimes, but the legal requirements are coming very fast. Every few days you will find out that new regulations are coming, new improvements are coming. The government is making the requirement more and more stringent. So we have to follow these requirements all the time. So let's back to the topic. This is about food safety certification, right? Food safety certification. To achieve the food safety certification, it's not an easy task. But at the same time, I would say that it is not an impossible task. Mashallah, all of your processes which you are following, they are up to the mark. You are doing your best efforts. But now you need to just enhance your focus that there should not be any contamination in our product. Before, when you were producing it, it might be possible that you are following all the requirements of quality assurance, quality control, but you are not looking or observing your product in terms of the food safety. The only thing what we need to do now that we also have to observe our product that it should be following the requirements of food safety. My product is safe if somebody is going to keep the chemical. My product is safe if somebody is going to keep the food products. Right? Any question? There are 11 modules which we have very limited time. We will try our best to cover most of them, which are important things. We will be spending more time. For the remaining things, we will be spending less time. So there are few questions. We need to match the answer. Contamination of food. Contamination, contaminated, which means that our food has something, for example, this is a clean and this is a dirty thing. If these dirty parts are going to be combined with the clean, so this, my clean product will also be getting a contamination, right? So we call it contamination. This product itself was not dirty, but due to the foreign, it become foreign objects or foreign particles or any biological activity due to some other place or due to some other product, the contamination comes in my product. We call it contamination. Similarly, like our drum, if our drum is not clean, it is going to make a contamination for the food which is going to be stored in your drum. Right? So then we have the next definition called food hygiene. Food hygiene means that we need to follow all the requirements of cleanliness. These are some terminologies which you are going to listen time to time in the food safety. So that's why we need to understand these food hygiene, right? And then we have HACCP. HACCP is basically hazard analysis critical control point. It is the same thing which we are going to do in the health and safety. Remember, in health and safety, you have done the risk assessment. So also in the food safety, we need to do the risk assessment. Risk in terms not the people, risk in terms of food. What are the hazards which can destroy my food? How can I protect my food? How can I protect my food product? How can we avoid the contamination? These are all things which we are going to do in the HACCP studies. In the HACCP studies, we are going to identify the hazard and we will be looking at whether how much is the risk involved with this hazard, right? And then we will be applying the control that how to minimize the risk of this hazard. We are all surrounded by the hazards. Sometimes we are surrounded by the food safety hazards. Sometimes we are surrounded by the health and safety. If you see these kind of loose wires, they are all safety hazards. But we are surviving with them. Why? Because we know that our applied controls are up to the mark. Right? We are not using the B grade sockets. We are not putting one extension with 4 sockets on the same thing. We are not putting it overloading. So on the basis of our controls, basically, we are confident. While you are sitting here, you guys are from production, you are sitting here, you have the confidence that my production line is working fine. Why? Because you, with the passage of time, with the passage of experience, you have made such a system that even if you are not available for some time, your subordinators, they are also looking onto the same way like you are looking. Right? So this is one of the control. This is one of the control that we have the confidence that my existing controls are very good. They are up to the mark. Similarly, in the food safety also, we are going to apply the controls which ensure that my food is protected. My food is protected. It is my controls are up to the mark, and we can go with the same controls. Right? Sometimes the controls are going to be failed. Like sometimes we have the quality issues. So there is one control which is going to be failed. So the QA, QC people, they catch this and they identify this. So similarly, in any kind of controls, when we are doing the HACCP studies or whether we are doing the risk assessment of health and safety, we can say that there is always a chance that the control can be failed due to any reason. So it's okay. But if the control is going to be failed, it should not go outside of our premises. Because once it is going to leave our premises, it's going to be a big problem. If we are going to identify our own non-conformity, no problem. But if customer is going to make the complaint for our product, big problem. Whether it's small customer or big customer, whether it's small complaint or major. Right? So we need to apply such kind of control, which ensures that the product which is going out of our factory, it's meeting all the requirements which are needed, whether it's a quality requirements or food safety requirements. Clear? Safe food is the food which is good for our health, right? Which is free from contamination, right? Which is free from contamination. When I say this is a safe and this is unsafe, the difference is not about the taste. The difference is not about the quantity. The difference is about that it is free from any contamination. It is sealed water and this is already open. It might be possible foreign particles, they have gone inside. Also, if you see, this is a good practice. Also, it's our sunnah that whenever you have anything open in the night time, just cover it. Whenever you are drinking the water, just see. It might be possible there are foreign particles are there, foreign traces are there. When you are wearing the clothes, let's have right? So if there is any contamination, there is any foreign particle, it will go out. So this is, we cannot say that it's a new thing. It's not the new thing. This is something which is coming from when the human we have born. It's very old, since the first human being, Adam alayhi salam, was born. But at that time, there were no such terminologies. There were no such, you can say, the concepts that how to do and why are we going to do. But when the research is going to be happening, the research is going to be, we are coming to know that these are all the best practices which are from last many thousands of years. Right? So don't worry about these things. This, you can say that food safety session is just a reminder of what we are doing. You know, sometimes we need the refreshers that we might have, sometimes we forget the things. So it's just going to have a refresher that we have to continue our good practices. Now, if you see microbiological, what is the impact of microbiological? They are going to have food poisoning. We have taken the food, if it is rotten food, if it is not up to the mark, what will happen? Food poison, diarrhea, go to the hospital, 3 days leave, right? If it is having a physical, it is going to have the injury, right? Maybe any nut bolt in your drum can be dropped and the food company is going to fill the food in the drum. So what will happen? It's going to have the physical. Foreign particles, right? Dust particles, the small stones, ghubar, they are all over physical hazards. Then we have chemical hazards, result in poisoning. Right? Like we are taking the bread and it gets fungus. Right? Fungus is also microbiological, but we can say that the which cause the chemical reaction. For example, you are washing the plate and fairy is still left over. Or you are using a soap, but you did not remove the soap completely. It will affect with your skin. Right? Sometimes when you are using the water, if it is not a normal water, then we feel that it is saltish. If you go to the sea, if you go to the Cornish, you will find that the water is saltish. If we are going to remain for a long time in this kind of water, it will start affecting our skin. So this is the chemical reaction, right? So when we are using the food products, it might be possible that if there is any contamination, it will cause microbiological, it can cause physical, it can cause chemical. And nowadays there is a new concept called allergen, right? We used to say that you have allergy, I have dust allergy, right? You have another allergy. Some people, they have allergy with peanuts. Some people, they have allergy with eggs, right? Even a small quantity, they are going to have, it will, they don't feel comfortable, right? Sometimes it start itching. So the allergen is also now it's recognized as one of the food hazard. Before we used to discuss only microbiological, chemical, and physical, but now with the passage of time, there is new hazard. If you see any of the food products, for example, if you see biscuit, if you see cake, so they will also be right. It's a mandatory requirement for the food products to write it down if they have used allergen in the products. There are known allergens, right? And there are some still unknown allergens. For example, egg is a known allergen. If you are making a biscuit in which you have used the egg, you have to write on the packet of the biscuit that it contains allergen. If you are using peanuts or if you are using peanut oil, it is a known allergen. You have to write it down on your product. Right. So those companies who are following the food safety requirement, the food safety standard, they are going to write it down this, right? In our case, since we are not the one who are making the food product, so it is not going to be applicable. But when we are going to do the risk assessment, the hazard studies, we have to consider it as a hazard. That what could be the hazard which can cause the allergen problems, right, in our process. Any question? कोई सवाल? When you don't have any question, there are two possibilities, right? Which possibility should I consider? That you are getting everything or you are not getting anything?
50%.
So, remaining 50% है उसके लिए आप पूछे ना?
No, it's okay.
I'm
Yeah, just
as easy as
just
possible. Still,
yeah, please,
Yes.
Mr. Yeah, I just have a question. As you say it, this yeah, in your introduction that the food certificate is very difficult and important, and yeah, we need to take care. Just I need that if the food certificate, we are not producing food, we're producing a package. Sure, it's a part of from the product, but I need to know exactly what's required from our team to make sure this yeah we yeah this is important our mission to be the best company in the world in the customer service, and to meet the customer requirement is important. So I need exactly what's the process, you know.
that's why we are doing this session to
Okay, good.
understand what are the things which they need to apply during the production. What are the things which we need to do in order to avoid this kind of problem as much as possible.
Okay, great. Thank you, boss.
Okay, there is also exercise. If we can skip it, we can go faster. But still, the concept for physical. Now, let's go quickly with the picture. Now, this kind of problem, is it physical, chemical, microbiological, or allergen? Allergen, also chemical. Chemical. For example, fumes.
Your eyes.
Exactly. It might also be possible that there is a foreign particle, it goes into the eye, it becomes physical. Right? So always remember, when we are talking about the hazards, it has to be a group study. It's not going to be performed by one person. One person has limited approach. You think in your way, I will be thinking in my way, someone from the maintenance, he will be thinking in his own way. So always remember, hazard study or the risk assessment, it's a group activity, not a one-person job. It's not a single person job. Otherwise, there will always be gaps, right? And we have to go always for the worst case scenario. What could be the bad thing? Not to the everything is gold, everything is up. No, just try to go that what is the most worst condition, and then we are going to apply the control. Then we are going to apply. Now let's say this is this problem, physical, chemical, allergen, right? We can see that there is allergy. Very good. This kind of problem. Match.
Chemical.
Physical.
Dust, this one is dust.
No, it's not the dust. The match. Physical. Very good. What about this one?
Biology.
Hmm?
Biology.
Biological.
Which one?
Hmm?
Which one?
This one.
Mhm.
Biological. And this one,
And physical history. Allegedly.
this is allergen plus biological. More often we take milk as biological, right? Because if it is allergen, then you will stop using milk. It might be possible. See, that's what I'm saying. The research on the allergen is still going on. Internationally, the research that how many allergens are possible. As I told you that they have already identified 7 allergens or 9 allergens. Yes. 15, 14. So still the research is going on. It depends on number of cases which are coming. Okay. So now, which of the following is the best meaning of food safety? How do you define the food safety? Option number A, using enough cleaning chemicals to keep surface clean, keeping food at the right temperature so the bacteria will not multiply, ensuring food is free from the harm of any kind. And D option is washing hands regularly throughout the day. Which option is correct for the food safety definition?
C.
Option number C. Very good. Very good. What is contamination? Number A, multiplication of bacteria, something objectionable in food, something that is not destroyed by cooking, a rapid method of cooling food. B, something objectionable is contaminant, right? Whenever we have some objection that it has some issues, we might be possible that we are not sure that what are the issues, but in general we will say that it's a contaminant. It is not fit for use. It is not fit for consume. So that's why it's called contamination, or the food is called contaminated food. Right? Now here comes some history of the food safety. Actually, the food safety is, as I told you, it's not the new concept, it's a very old concept. But with the passage of time, the globally, the world has recognized these kind of issues, and they are continuously working to improve as much as possible. Food issues, they became more drastically when it was in 2000, 99, 98, 2000. There were a lot of food safety issues in the product. And if you listen to Mars, they have recalled their products. Chocolates throughout the world. Panadol, they have recalled their product, right? The KFC, they had the issues in their product. So these were basically because they were following the quality requirement, but somehow they were not focusing on the food safety requirements. So as I told you, when the product goes out of the premises, it is not in your control. You never know where our product is going, right? Somehow you have a batch number, you have the traceability, but not necessarily on each product they are going to have the traceability. The burger which KFC is making, it might not be possible that out of 5,000 burgers which they are going to sell every day, that each burger is traceable, right? So these kind of issues started arising throughout the world, and then the international trading associations, their consultants, their experts sit together to discuss that we need to apply such kind of controls on the food products. So then they developed the GFCI, which is the Global Food Safety Initiative. It was just an initiative to ensure that there should be certain guidelines for the companies who are manufacturing the food, who are producing the food. So they will follow these standard practices, these best practices, to avoid contamination in their product as much as possible, right? So GFCI, it's an international platform. And then after a certain time, they have become more advanced, and they have the standard came for the food safety. We call it FSSC 22,000. Before FSSC 22,000, there was FSMS, right? FSMS. Still FSMS is there, and also FSSC is there. FSSC is also a GFSI approved standard, right? FSSC is going to be applied for most of the time those companies who are producing or who are producing the packaging products, who are producing the food products directly, but there are certain additional PRPs which you have to follow. FSMS is same like QMS, very generic, right? it is applicable to any kind of food handling. But when we talk about FSSC, they gives you the more categorization that, okay, now you have to apply full FSMS plus these requirements which are applicable for the packaging industry. These more requirement, additional requirements which are applicable to the manufacturing company. So in other words, we can say that FSSC is equal to FSMS plus additional requirement, right? FSMS is one standard and FSSC is a combination of 3 standards. So that's why the companies now internationally, they are more focusing towards FSSC. But still, FSMS standard is available and it is also for the food safety. The companies are also getting certified on FSMS, right? You see that for it's here. The FSSC is globally applicable to 7 kind of sectors. 7 kind of sectors. It is not for each and every kind of sector which is related to the food, but it is mainly for 7 kind of sectors. And nowadays, as of now, 128 certification bodies are doing the certification of FSSC in 154 countries, and 23,000 certificates of FSSC are already issued throughout the world, right? So it means that this standard is not very new. Because the companies, they were certified before FSMS, then they have switched on to FSSC. So the major part, 80% of the things they already have, but then they apply some additional requirement to meet the FSSC. But why they are going to FSSC? This is the question. If FSMS is also available and FSSC, why there is a need for FSSC? The need for the FSSC, that FSSC is being approved by international trade unions. So when you are going to export your products, sometimes they make the requirement that you should follow the international trade unions rules and regulations. So this FSSC is approved by them because they develop the GFSI, right? And then under this GFSI, this is FSSC. So it's only tool which is going to help our product to be more penetrable in the market. It is only a tool which is going to give us the benefit that in case if we are exporting our product, it will be having more acceptability, right? Otherwise, it doesn't mean that the company who is following FSMS is less than the FSS. It doesn't matter.
Some people we have the packaging companies.
FSSC, yeah, most of the time, those companies who are involved in the food packaging, for example, those who are making the films, like 3Ps, right? The Gulf sheets, they are already FSSC. Even one of our client, National Biscuits, they are also FSSC. So FSSC, it's, as I told you, for those companies who are involved in the export of their product, they have to have this thing, right? In the kingdom, to produce the food, it's not a requirement to have FSSC. They only require HACCP, right? They only require in the kingdom SASO or SFDA when they are giving you the license for food company or food product manufacturing or food storage companies. They are asking you bring the HACCP certificate. That's it. HACCP up till now. But some sectors, they are now coming for the FSMS. But HACCP is mandatory. Before, HACCP was only mandatory for export, right? For example, if you are doing the export or if you are bringing something from outside, you are importing any food product, they used to see Shahada or HACCP. Now all over the world, HACCP is obsolete. Right?
FSSC only required to export the food products.
Exactly. You will have more penetration, but again, it depends on your client. If your client does not want, right? FSMS is enough.
They have client who don't care.
Right? Because I don't know why marketing.
It's as I told you, it's a very good marketing tool that we are producing the products which are meeting international requirement. Whether you take it or don't take it, but this is our recognition. So that's why if you see FSSC is following FSMS plus PRP the additional requirements, and the FSSC additional requirement. So PRP is for the food packaging only, which are applicable to you. Yes, yes. No, this, your FSSC will be containing this standard full. Then these requirements, then these requirements. This standard is also a standalone standard. You will also be get certified only on FSMS, right? But when you say that we are FSSC certified, which means you are following this standard, this standard, this standard.
These extra benefits.
Extra benefits, extra requirements, extra fees. Okay, so exactly, time also. So 22,000 itself, it contains communication management system, prerequisite, and HACCP principle. Now here, if you see in FSMS also there are prerequisite, and FSSC also gives you the prerequisite. So when both have the prerequisite, we will be following the FSSC prerequisite, which are applicable for the packaging companies, right? Okay, now this is our food safety management system, FSMS ISO 22,000 and 2018 version, right? The version has changed recently, so that's why it's still 2008. It contains 10 clauses, 10 clauses. The whole standard is now based on the proactive approach, We need to have the preventive approach. It says that before you start the activity, let's have a plan. Let's apply the control, because if you will start the activity and then you will have the issues, it will be difficult to manage. So let's do the things on at the time of planning, not at the time of execution. The controls you will apply at the time of execution, but the study you are going to do. So all the standard is proactive approach. Before, in the old standard, we used to have the preventive and corrective actions. One of the requirement was, now there is no preventive action, because it's all about the risk management. It's all about the risk, and we need to identify the risk in advance. The requirements in ISO 9000 also that these 10 requirements are there. But what is the difference then if it is the same requirement? The difference is how we are going to think. In 9000, we are applying all the controls to protect our business. To protect our business and the quality of our product. In food safety, we are applying all these clauses, but in our mind, what do we want to make protection? Our product against the food safety requirements. Against the food safety. Before in 9000, our product against the quality requirements. Now our product against the food safety requirements. It might be possible that you will find this drum is meeting all the quality parameters. It is going to be passed. Very good, no problem. But it might be possible that this drum is not meeting the requirement of food safety. You got no point. In your washrooms, you have water. Moya fi tahliya, right? It's also water. Moya fi shurb. This is also water. In both cases, we have water. But what is the difference? The intended purpose. The intended purpose. This water is written clearly here, drinking water. Right? Suitable for drinking purpose. Meeting the requirement of SASO, blah, 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 blah. So this is suitable for drinking. The intended purpose when brain were producing this water was the drinking purpose. But if I purchase this water, it's my choice. I will take this water on my head. No problem. Right? So, but the water which is coming in our toilet, the water which is coming in our kitchen, it's not supporting to have the drinking purpose water. Right? Our Tahliya people, they don't claim that the tap water is suitable for the drinking purpose. Why? Because some particles, TDS, TSS, they are higher amount, which are not good for our health. It's not like one time you will drink this water and you will die. No, inshallah, nothing will happen. Especially to Pakistani people, nothing is going to be happen. Right? So, but it might be possible that this water is not meeting the requirement for the health. Similarly, for our product also, that our drum is meeting all the requirements of quality parameter.
Each person meets all the requirements of food and safety.
Yeah, by default,
Right.
our system, mashallah, internal system is very strong.
We already has to verify.
Exactly.
FSSC.
You have seen what happened with Corona, right? So Pakistan was open, the whole world was locked at this.
Okay, because drinking water is Marathi directly. Marathi water. Yeah, I saw many people start taking water from it. It says it's drinkable.
So the thing is that this is the only thing which we need to focus, that we are already following the quality parameters, we are following the quality requirements. So according to the quality of the product, it is very good. But now we have to see that if we are following the requirement of food safety or not. When we are going to make claim that my product is food safer, it's a safer product for the food storage, then we have to apply few more controls apart from the quality requirements, right? If you see here, the clause 1, 2, 3 are only for the reference. These are not the requirement. It gives us the introduction of the standard only, that where this standard is going to be applied, what are the normative references from where they have taken. Whenever ISO is going to establish any standard, they form an electrotechnical committee. This electrotechnical committee consists of experts, consultants. They sit together, they share each other practices. We are doing this in our company. We are doing this. My experience says that we should do like this. Let's sit together, have a brainstorming session, and then we will make the minutes. And then we call this is our standard. Then the ISO distribute this standard to the member countries. If member countries more than 70% are agree, they say, okay, now this is ISO international standard. That's it. Right? Like in your company, you are sitting, for example, there is some problem in the production. So all the experienced people of the production engineer, production supervisor, production manager will sit together and they will start interrogation. They will start investigation that why this issue is going to come. Everyone will give his suggestion, his advices. And finally, you will agree that, okay, these are the few things which we need to apply from next time in order to avoid this kind of issue. So the same way ISO is going to develop the standard. I'm giving you a very small example of your company. ISO is doing the same way for throughout the world. ISO is same like our United Nations, right? They have the member countries. ISO is basically a subdivision of UN. That is why all the members of UN are also the members of ISO. That's why they have too much influence throughout the world.
Like 4 to 5.
Yes. Fight together. Okay, so now these are the prerequisite programs. As I told you, apart from the food safety ISO 22000 FSMS requirement, what are the prerequisite programs which we need to follow? There are 7 sectors which they provide. When one of the part 4 is about food packaging. So basically, you will be following these requirements. ISO TS technical specifications 22002-5/2019. This is the version which you are going to follow apart from the previous ISO 22000 requirement, right? ISO FSMS requirement plus these requirements plus additional requirements. So there are 3 things which we need to follow. Now let's see these requirements. These requirements, personal hygiene, as we all know that it might also be possible that it is already our protocol that whenever we are going to start the production, we have to wear a clean clothes. We have to wash our hands whenever we are going to go or we are going to carry such a product which can have the contamination. We need to wash our hands before going to toilet. After coming to toilet, we need to wash our hands. We have to make sure that our uniform shall not expose to the outside atmosphere. This is now important thing. For example, we are wearing the uniform and we are going into the dust areas and everywhere, and then we come back again, we started our production. So this practice needs to control, right? This practice needs to be controlled, that when we are using one uniform, we have to remain inside our facility and we need to avoid the contamination as much as possible. And that's why the companies, sometimes they are wearing the lab coats additionally, right? So when they are going out of their place, remove the lab coat and do your things outside and then come back. Right? Because there is a chance of contamination. Always there is a chance of contamination. So we need to avoid. Sometimes the companies, they are changing the shoes when they are coming to the production, or they are wearing the shoe covers. They are covering the heads also, because our hair, they are going to have a physical hazard for our product. So we need to apply all. Now again, see, these things were not applicable in case of quality. Now these things are going to be applicable in case of food safety. You got the point? The product standard is same, but now these are few additional requirements which we have to comply. If there is any injury, you can still work. But when you are doing the food manufacturing, with the injury, with the bandage, you cannot touch. It's not like you will get the leave, you will get the absent, but you will not be involved in the direct production process. You can do any other thing, no problem. But you will not be directly contact with the food product. So again, I'm saying there are more strict protocols for the manufacturing. Since you are in the packaging, so still the protocols or the rules are less severe. But when it comes to the manufacturing, the rules become very strict, very strict. We have seen in the food companies that how they are managing. We have seen the pharmaceutical companies how they are managing. And this is one of the requirement. If they are not going to follow these requirements, how they are going to sell their products, right? So before starting any food packaging, we need to have the wash your hand. And then immediately after using the toilet and immediately after handling any potentially contaminated product. Any potentially contaminated. For example, if you are going outside into the store where you have handled the packaging material or any of the items which are containing dust, and this dust come to your hands before coming to the production, before handling your product, let's wash your hand. Otherwise, again, these foreign particles can be transferred into the food, your product. This is started getting.
Normally, if you only work pharmaceutical companies, they might be regularly there, not only for machines, but cleaning of rooms also. Because normally room is a main source.
Exactly.
For the
Yes.
So, is there any frequent requirement you suggested or something that you can do like weekly basis, whatever?
There is a portion
is coming
exactly from the roof. Yes. There is a section for the cleaning where it gives you the clear requirement that the company has to have preventive maintenance and cleaning plan available for the cleaning of their roofs, for the walls, interior walls, exterior walls. And then it comes again to the pest management also. These kind of, even the grievances we need to avoid. Those, for example, there is a difference between the wall and here when they are washing, all the water is going to be stagnant here. Now again, it's not a quality issue, but there is a growth of bacteria all the time. Right? Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yes. But exactly, we need to have the plan available. Similarly, our HVAC system, we need to have the filter cleaning mechanism available. I mean, this is already maintenance is doing it, but now we need to focus on this thing that we should do it on time as per schedule, because we need to convince the auditor that we are following this requirement. Ultimate goal is to avoid the contamination before.
Because we are not manufacturing 100%. Maybe manufacture once a week. So he needs to have
No, it's not about the special uniform, right?
Yes, but if he need, he should wear uniform. Otherwise, he at least has
They have a uniform. Guys have a uniform. That is the point. Guys should have a uniform. Should not be like should not go outside. Maybe he should go outside too.
I mean, uniform, when they come here, they are changing the uniform or from their home, they.
Somebody changing, somebody from home.
So in case, see, whenever they are coming from outside and they are having the uniform, we have seen most of the time the companies, they have the air curtains. When they come, it's heavy air. When you are passing through the area, all foreign particles go out of your uniform. So it's not like that you are going to change the uniform, but this is another control that we can have of air. So whenever person is going there with the air, all the particles are away, and he will open the door and you can have the buffer area in between the production and the entrance.
Okay.
Yes, anything?
Out of this, if out of this we need additional cover up, whenever we have food product.
Yes, it's also meeting the requirement.
Whenever we go out and we come in, so we can change it.
Yes, but the thing is,
Big process to big air buffer area to curtain something like that. Because monthly once or two times maybe we have food.
but for me, it is more difficult for your people to wear and remove the clothes all the time.
No,
This is
no,
my
this one, it's very lightweight, normally we are using it cleaning day, use and throw, use and throw. Use
Yeah,
and-
if it is
light and
disposable.
disposable.
Yes, it's fine then. It's much better. But they should follow. See, a standard is not going to guide you that how you are going to do. A standard is going to guide you what you need to do. How you will decide by yourself. You have to give the confidence to the standard that I am following your requirement. If you are spending 1 real on one thing or you are spending 1 million on one thing, it's all your choice. Standard is not going to guide you on these. Standard will say that we need to avoid the contamination. Now, it is our job that we need to think that how the contamination can come. One of the source of contamination is human being itself, right? One of the source of contamination are your roof, are your windows. As I told you, there are small holes into the walls, into our floors. Our floors are damaged from many places, right? When they are doing the washing, the water gets stagnant. It becomes black with the passage of time. This is the source of bacteria. Sometimes we have the rework or the waste activity. There are a lot of time leftovers are there, and it starts smelling. This is food issue. Okay, it's not the quality issue. It's not going to disturb the quality of the product. But now, since we have to follow the food safety, it could lead to a contamination in my product. So that's the problem. Right?
Yeah.
Can I take the tea?
Yeah.
Yes. कोई मसला तो नहीं मसला है फिर भी ले लेंगे क्या आवाज बिल्कुल खराब हो रही है तो रात में ट्रेनिंग करा रहा था चीख चीख के आवाज खत्म हो गई
Must be there.
Okay, guys. So clear personal hygiene. Is it clear to you? Then we have cleaning and sanitization. This is what we were discussing. That we need to have a cleaning program available for all of our infrastructure, machinery, that to avoid any kind of contamination. Areas and items of equipment to be cleaned. Responsibility of the cleaning task team. cleaning methods and frequency, monitoring and verification arrangement. Now, see, standard does not ask you that you have to clean 2 times in a day, 3 times in a day, or 5 times. It says that you need to have the mechanism available. Now, this mechanism, the organization will decide, right? We will be working on you to make it as practical as possible, right? So it might be possible that from our as this existing condition, we say that we will do the cleaning 1 time is enough. Maybe we'll say no, we have to do at least twice. But whatever frequency we are going to define, we have to follow this. And there should be a mechanism to have the verification that the cleaning is going to be happen or no. The on-time cleaning is going to be happen or no, right? So that's why we need to produce the reports, the check sheets also, which ensures that the cleaning is going on. Keep cleaning equipment clean and in good condition. Cleaning agents shall be clearly identified. This is another hazard. Remember, we discussed the chemical hazard. The cleaning agents are there at the corner of the production hall, another corner of the production hall, another corner of the production hall. Sometimes they are being used and sometimes they are not being used. Sometimes they are being used for another purpose. We have seen that sometimes they are using the empty bottle for another chemical or for another ink purpose. The labeling, the identification shows that it is, let's say, ABC chemical cleaning agent, but they are using it for another purpose. So we need to avoid these kind of practices. They have to be stored in a secure manner. The clear labeling should be available. The chemical which you are going to use must be approved by SFDA. It should be available in the list of SFDA, right? And must be secure under the, I'm not saying lock and key, but must be secure and everybody should not have access for this. Those who are the relevant people, those who are being trained to use it, the cleaning chemicals. SFDA, Saudi Food and Drug Authority. SFDA, Saudi Food and Drug Authority.
So it means whenever you apply this FSSC, then company should use
those chemicals which are available in their list. A lot of chemicals are available in their list. So chemical tools shall be hygienic design and maintained in a condition that does not present a potential for the source of contamination. What does it mean? What happened that, for example, we are using the brooms for sweeping, right? From the broom itself, the dust is going to be generated. Here you are cleaning and there the dust is going. So this is what they are saying, that we need to use such kind of equipment which are not producing another contamination. That's why we prefer to have brush. That's why we prefer to have the vacuum. Sometimes these kind of things also happen with the vacuum. When the filter is going to be choked, you will find out that they started making the dust, generation of dust. So we need to ensure that our cleaning equipment are also up to the mark. Sometimes have you seen that they are going to hang the mop, which is already very much wet. Water is dripping from the mop, right? So it might be possible if it is in the production area, it is going to have the water. When the water is going to the ground, which means there is a chance of contamination. So that's why we have the trolleys where he is going to ensure that it's neat and clean, it's dry, and then they are going to keep it, right? Sometimes we have seen that you are using the wooden containers, cabinets, right, for cleaning for keeping the wet things, which again can cause the contamination. We have to see whether they should be a good polished, or they need to have the plastic, they need to have the steel in order to avoid any kind of contamination. Preventing excess. We need to have a good system available for the access. Access control is very necessary, not only for the food safety, but also it is a part of our food defense. Any person, outsider, should not go directly to the production area. Someone should be accompanied. For example, if he is the host, he should take him and he should be taking care of this person. Sometimes we have seen that the contractor workers, they are one of the big threats for the organization. Every day they are changing. Every day they are changing. Because you say, no, he was asking for more salary, so we take him out. Or he has got another job, so he left us. So now to replace, we have another temporary labor. So these kind of people, they are not good for the food safety issues, and also they are not good for the food defense mechanism. They are one of the threat for our system. Because for them, there is no traceability. He's not under your organization name. He is not under your IKAMA. If anything happens, you don't know tomorrow he will come or he will not come. So we have to apply such kind of controls. Effective measures shall be in place to prevent the pest entering from any places. The pest, whether these are rodents, whether these are other kind of pests are there, we need to apply such controls. And if we have a pest management system available internal, it's okay. Otherwise, we need to have a third party contract available that they are the pest management company. They are coming us, they are monitoring the pest, they are counting the pest. We have the analysis for the pest available. I don't know whether you have the system available at the moment or not.
Analysis, yes. Service.
They have to write how many flies. Yes.
Yes. It's internal.
You need to ask them, give us the analysis. How much their service is effective? How do you know? You are just looking that he is keeping apple here, he is keeping another fruit there, and you are satisfied. And alhamdulillah, I mean, they are going to be controlled somehow that you don't see any pest, but analysis are also required. Even for your insecutors, analysis are required. Insecutors with the fly killers, the one with blue lights. Sometime what happened that in the restaurants, have you seen that they have the insecutor just above the food? If the fly is going to die, it will go into the food directly. This is a design problem. Got my point? The insecutor is on the table of food where the people are eating. Okay, his intention is good that the fly should not come. But what if fly is going to?
The intention is good, just like the example of the grade.
Exactly. And the intention. Exactly. What can you say? So external door, windows or ventilation opening shall be designed to prevent the entry of pests, right? Keep exterior door closed when not in use. If it is necessary, then keep the doors open. Otherwise, try to keep them closed as possible. Even if you are going to open them, you need to have the curtains available to avoid any kind of foreign contamination. Document the pest control. Target pest and address plans, list of chemical use, method, schedule, control procedure, personal training requirement. Those who are involved in the pest management, you need to check their training competence record. Whether it's any Filipino or Bengali guy, he is coming, Biskin guy, he does not have any training, and he is doing your pest management. It's threat for you and for himself also. So whoever is coming to perform your activity, just ask him to share their competence document, at least the CV, the profile, if they have taken any training. Now, the hazard analysis shall be carried out. Implement measures to prevent microbiological, physical, and chemical. Separate food items from non-food items. Provide adequate workplaces and prevent backflow of the process. Backflow means that it should be in a positive direction. Should not come and then go back. Our process should be aligned, that it will go the forward, not to the backward, coming back and then again going forward. Right? Yeah. So these are all the same requirements for the contamination. Take corrective actions wherever required. Dispose of any material that cannot be cleaned effectively. For example, if any material which you think that if we will clean, still there will be a chance of contamination, then dispose of. Right? Now, design and layout. As I told you, that is also very important. That sometimes when we have the factories, they are not being designed to meet the requirement of food safety, there are certain gaps. Okay, they can meet the requirement of safety, quality, but still there are some gaps, especially in the floors, in the roofs, in the windows. There are chances of contamination are possible. Building shall be durable construction that presents no food safety hazard to the food packaging. Roads should be paved, right? Similarly, there are no pools of water inside the factory. Provide enough space for operations and storage. So to avoid the chances of contamination.
We are producing guns, those we are engaging and we are planning for producing some guns for students. My concern is that because we are talking about the cleanliness of the cleanliness materials and other things, which is tried or recognized from Saudi food safety. We are separating these chemicals, these products, which are using for petrochemicals, chemicals, which are hazardous for food, food materials, what we are producing. So those chemicals which we are using to manufacture those guns should we also be proud to?
Not necessary. Not necessary. If it is a non-food product, no problem at all.
In the main plant, in the same plant, we are also planning.
Exactly.
What we are using other chemicals.
Exactly. So in this case, there are many organizations, they have the same issues, that they are producing the food and non-food products at the same time. So what do? The first thing, again, it goes to the planning side. When we are going to have our plan, it might be possible that if we have more than one lines, we dedicate, okay, this one line for our food-based products, this one line or two lines for the non-food-based products. Or when we are working with the food product, the batch, and we are utilizing all our production area, we need to follow these requirements. And when it comes to the verification phase, we can show that, okay, on Tuesday from 12 to 4 p.m. we have this food product, and these are the records available for this time of cleaning, this time of our PRPs or PRP. But on the other days, we used to have non-food product, no problem, right? So we need to see that how can we ensure ourselves and how can we ensure our auditors that we are going to apply the controls. Our intention is to apply the control. But again, the question comes that we have 90% non-food and we have only 10% food. So we cannot spend too much resources due to this food requirement. So that's why I'm saying that we need to assign that maybe the batch with the duration, clear duration, start time, end time, or we need to dedicate the line that, okay, only this line will have the.
And then those guns which we are not using for food purpose also going there.
Yeah.
And painting foods require all the time they have chemicals.
Fumes, yeah.
There. Whenever you do food waste, you have to clean first. Those paint foods.
Exactly.
And those cleaning require perfect cleaning in all aspects.
Exactly.
Don't you think it's
No, but here we already follow that, right? Already follow. After cleaning, immediately they produce this after cleaning. Then they go with the non-food product. They make a production.
And though you have high demand.
No, they always make a production planning after cleaning. Immediately.
We need, all the things, these should be provided, provide like that.
If they are coming,
Last 2 years,
Provided
or similar body forming.
If they are coming in with the food, they are coming in contact with the food, must be food grade. Whether the lubricant which you are going to use for the cleaning of food. So also, remember last time we discussed about this lid. The lid, the glue which we are going to apply on the lid must be also. Yes, no. When the supplier management comes, just go out. Selection of suppliers, right? Same criteria which we are going to follow for our quality management system. We need to select the suppliers on the basis of their competence, and for those things which we can use for the food products, for those suppliers which we are taking the products which can be used in our food product, we have to be more careful about them. When we are asking them for the raw material, we need to ask them to provide the COA, certificate of analysis. For example, if we are using the lubricant, if we are using the grease, if we are using the glue, if we are using the paint, right? We need to ensure that the raw material which is coming to our facility, and if it is going to be used in our food product, must be meeting the food safety requirements.
They can use the declaration.
Yes,
That is in.
The declaration, not from their own, but also by third party. I mean, maybe if this is the minimum requirement,
Their own declaration.
right? This is the minimum requirement. Their own declaration is the minimum requirement. Ideally, it should be from third party. Time to time, they have to send their samples to the third party who is going to analyze, and they are going to give the inspection certificate that yes, it is meeting the food safety requirements. Or we can say that it's a food grade. Also check for the helium. Remember, I told you to check for the helium. Okay. They have given the declaration.
Most suppliers do their own declaration.
If you will ask them to have the third party, then they will go. Otherwise, normally they issue their own. Okay, so supplier evaluation, we need to evaluate our suppliers time to time. We need to evaluate their performance against the food safety requirements and against the same quality requirements. If we are using the contractual employees, if we are outsourcing some employees, so we need to ensure that those who are coming into our facility, they are dealing with our food products, they must be trained on these things. They should have a clear idea about the hygiene, housekeeping, how to apply the personal hygiene, how to maintain the personal hygiene, what are the protocols which they have to follow all the time. Record complaint about the supplier. If there is any complaint which is coming from the supplier end, you need to record, you need to explain them by documentation, right? By documentation that they are going to have the issues in their services or in their products, right? Now HACCP. What is HACCP? Any idea about HACCP? Critical control point. As I told you before, the HACCP is basically the hazard analysis critical control point. It is a study. We can say it is the same thing which we are going to do in the health and safety, right? In health and safety, the focus is to protect human. In HACCP, the focus is to protect the food, right? HACCP was before the food safety. There was HACCP. When the NASA, they have started sending their people, the issues started come that in the space, the food become rotten, right? In the space, when they are going for a long time, the people who are doing the research in space, when they went, the food start getting rotten. What to do? You don't have any other bakery there. One bakala is closed, go to another bakala, right? So whatever you have to survive with the same. So the issues started coming, and then NASA, they have given this, they have subcontract the activity, they have outsourced this to Pillsbury. Pillsbury used to be a bakery chain at that time, very famous, very popular. So they have given this task to them, that you need to produce such kind of food which is going to remain fresh for long time, especially where we don't have any, air, and the normal conditions are not going to met. So Pillsbury, basically they started manufacturing those kind of products. They started research on these kind of things. And then they started the food manufacturing, those food manufacturing which can stay for long time into the space. And then they have taken the approval from the US SFDA. US SFDA is basically only FDA. They called it only FDA. And they have taken the approval from World Health, WHO, also, to ensure that our food which we are going to generate, it is suitable for the human consumption for long time. And from there the HACCP was started. So the formula, the rules which they have applied on their product, they start calling it that it's a HACCP analysis which we have done. So now from there, this HACCP analysis start coming to the other companies, right? And now whoever is going to make the food manufacturing, food production, or food storage, this HACCP, after that it was modified further to have the principle of hazards. Now they say that we have to do the HACCP studies. The HACCP studies is same thing, that if you have done the HACCP study, you are confident that I have applied all the possible controls on the food hazards. So that's why we are sitting peacefully here. When I'm taking this bottle and this bottle is sealed, I'm confident. I don't see the water, I start drinking. When I see the can of Coca-Cola, I'm sure that the Coca-Cola is following the food safety requirement. I used to do their audits before 15 years for the Coca-Cola, right? I know that how much high standard of food safety they have. And that's why they also started having this paper cap. Why they have started this? After COVID, and also they have intention to start it since long time. The same issue. At the end of the day, it's going in your mouth. Not only product, also packaging. So when it is going to be stored in the warehouses, for the contractors, for the supplier, for example, Panda, Danube, they are going to have 100 pallets for these kind of soft drinks. So food safety issues are possible there. Contamination, dust are possible there. Sometimes mouses are going from here and there, these pest management. For inside my factory, I'm very good. I'm applying all the controls. But once it goes to the contractor, once it goes to the supplier, it might be possible they don't have a good system for food safety. So to protect from their own, they have initiated this system.
That means you are saying indirectly that we should also check with our customers?
No, not your customers. If you are giving your product,
Coca-Cola,
Because nobody is thinking from our phone.
you know,
they are not supposed to be sent to them, the food grade drums. And they don't care about it.
It reaches when they.
no, it's okay. It's a very valid question. See, there are two ways to do this thing. The first thing, that you have certain authorized distributors. Okay, if you want to purchase the Greif drum, go to this distributor. This distributor they will arrange. On those distributors, you can have a strong control, right? In their facility, in their facility. But now when, exactly, this is what I'm saying. If it is going directly to the customer, you can give them the requirement by document that you have to place our product in these conditions. But after that, it is not our responsibility. Right? Same like when you are here in the Coca-Cola, refrigerate, keep it refrigeration. Don't keep it directly under the sun. After that, his responsibility is over. I keep him in the sun, or I keep it in the hot weather or hot temperature. They have written it, right? So this is called.
The problem is that whenever the customer use some infected or some infected one, they don't think about the shop.
Exactly.
They think about the
That's why we need to have more care. This is what I told them, that why they have started making this paper.
care.
And that's why,
They will not think about the
see,
distributor because they don't have in their mind. Because Coca-Cola all the time in their mind.
yes, I agree with. And that's why They have a very comprehensive system for their distributors audits. Right? I'm doing the audits even for the small shops, small distributors, for Unilever, Nestle, Kraft Food, that how they are going to store their products. So they have to go up to this level. Okay, this is the simple example of drinking water manufacturing, that how the municipality water comes and then how they are going to apply the filters. And
think that question what we are saying that we are using products.
Mhm.
We are storing
Mm.
other raw materials
Mm.
inside the plant,
Mm.
which has no, say, food grade
Mhm.
post. The supplier is delivering us complementary raw materials.
Mm.
So account are not food grade.
Right.
We are not following the conditions of food grades. And we are using those raw materials to store in the plant.
Maafi mushkil. We need to have a dedicated area for this purpose. That this is for the food grade, this area, and this is for the non-food grade. Also, this we have in the previous slides we have discussed this thing. Don't keep too much material in your factory. They will make the store, the floors. Don't. No, because these are very practical questions. Why I'm also taking these questions very seriously, because the good thing that you are analyzing the situations. What could be the problems? Maybe today I'm here, he's here for next 2 days. After that, what? Right? So and that is why we are here, to give the answer of your queries. These kind of the training, they are not the training, they are basically the discussion, that how to do. At the end of day, you have to do. After some time, we will not be here with you. So your concept shall be clear on these things, that what could be the challenges for you. Okay, HACCP principle. Before starting the HACCP activities, we need to assemble the HACCP team. We need to have the team. The team will be from different interested parties from all over the factory who are going to involve in the technical activities. For example, from our production, from our warehouse, from our maintenance, from our quality team, the HACCP team will be formed. And after forming the HACCP team, there will be a food safety team leader, right? We say FSTL, food safety team leader. This team leader is the one who is responsible for the team, who is managing the team. It's not like they are doing any additional tasks, but definitely they are considered as the advisors for the food safety. So that's why not only the food safety team leader should have a competency to understand the food related issues, but also the team who is under him, they should also be having a clear understanding in identifying and applying the control which are related to the food safety, right? So he is the person responsible for distributing and coordinating tasks with the team, making the final decision and submitting the reports to the top management. These are few responsibilities of food safety team leader. I think in your case, you will be the food safety team leader or someone else. Production manager should be the food safety team leader, because he plant manager, he has the more power. Is the one who can control the things. Food safety team leader should have certain authorities. Food safety team leader should have influence on the people. Food safety team leader should have some resources under him, right? So he can take the decisions. So you need to check that who could be the right person for the food safety team leader. So now the HACCP team may consist from the production, sanitation, as I told you, quality assurance, maintenance, purchasing, warehouse, all over the factory, all over the plant. We are going to take the people as a part of our team. Now, product description and intended use. We need to define clearly the product specification. What are the specification of our product? What are the intended purpose of our product, especially if it is a food product? So what are the intended use of our product? If it is only a packaging, we need to define that it is only a packaging product in which the food is going to be stored. If it is a food manufacturing company, then they have to define that to which kind of people this product is suitable, to what age of the people this product is going to be suitable, what are the storage conditions, how we are going to distribute our products. So the product description is very necessary. For your products, we will have one document called product description. It might be possible that you already have it, and it might be possible that you need to develop it according to the requirement of food safety, right? And we will support you in this regard. Flow diagrams, we need to have a clear process flow diagrams. This process flow diagram, I hope you will already having this process flow diagram, but they are mainly focusing on the process requirements. Now, in the same flow diagram, we need to identify that what are the aspects of food, what are the food safety issues which we need to consider in our process flow. For example, in our process flow diagram, we need to define that what are the CPs, what are the CCPs, right? Critical control point. Then we need to apply the control. What are the acceptance? What are the rejection limits with regards to the product acceptance? So our process flow diagram is very necessary. And process flow diagram will be developed by the team itself, right? The food safety team will be, the food safety team will be developing the process flow diagram. And they are the one who are going to verify. And after verification, they are going to sign off that we have verified our flow diagram and it is meeting all the requirement of food safety. And this is what we need to do, right? Our process flow diagram must not be only verified by our food safety team leader, but it is the activity which is going to be performed by the whole team. And they are going to sign off that our process is meeting all the requirement of food safety. Whatever the controls we are going to apply, they are up to the mark. And this food safety team is going to review this with a periodic interval of time. Maybe sometimes the process is going to be changed. Sometimes the technology is going to be changed. It's not like it's one-time job that we have done it, so khalas, not 10 years, no problem. It's a live activity. It's a live activity. Whenever process is going to be changed, whenever design is going to be changed, whenever technology is going to be changed, whenever raw material is going to be changed, whenever the size of your product is going to be changed, you will review. When we say review, it doesn't mean that you have to change it, but you have to review it for its adequacy. We need to review whether it's still applicable or no. Yes, if you think that it is still applicable, keep it as it is. Just make the record that we have reviewed and don't find any changes. But sometimes the result of the review will be changed, that you have changed certain documents. So before you will say we were using version number 1, now we are using version number 2, right? So always remember ISO standard, they are always going to ask you, you have to review. You have to review. They don't ask you, you have to change. If the process, if the conditions, if the raw material, if the people, the technology is same, no need to change it. But review it time to time. It says you need to review it with a periodic interval. This periodic interval will be defined by the organization itself. The more critical conditions, the periodic interval is less. The less critical conditions, the periodic interval could be higher. No problem. Right? So in our process flow diagrams, we will be having the sequence and interaction of steps, outsourced processes, where the raw material, ingredients, and processing aids, where are the utilities requirement. If there is any rework or recycling, we need to define in our process diagram. Where the end products, immediate products, and byproducts and waste are released, we need to define these things in our process flow diagram. So this is going to be a detailed, a comprehensive diagram, which if anyone will see only this diagram, he will get a clear idea that how we are going to apply food safety requirements in our product or in our processes. Clear? But again, the base is the simple process flow for this. If we have a clear process flow, this process flow diagram will be easy. We will add these details now. We will add these details. Okay, how many steps of HACCPs are there? HACCP has 7 principles. HACCP have 7 principles which we need to follow one by one, right? Then who is going to verify the process flow diagram? I just B. 7. Principles are 7.
We have 7, but as mentioned, only 6.
No, it's
Yeah,
that
in the diagram we have
7.
but as you mentioned, only 6.
6. Okay. So here the question is that who is going to verify the process flow diagram? Our team. Our team is the advisory team, right? This is, as I told you again, always remember any studies which is related to the risk will not be performed by a single person. It is always going to be a team task, right? A team task, because different minds, different backgrounds, different experiences, they are coming together to form a very good outcome. So that's why the process flow diagram will also be developed by them and it will be verified by them. And they will be signing off for this, that we have verified this and it's up to the mark. Okay, so the product description shall provide the details of physical, chemical, and biological, shelf life and storage condition, distribution condition, all of above. Very good. Okay, now we have the hazard principle. There are 7 principles. The number 1 principle we are going to discuss quickly. The first principle is the hazard. We need to identify the hazards. Identify the hazards which are relevant to the food safety, right? The hazards which are relevant to the food safety. Then we need to identify the critical control points, CCPs. When I say critical control point, it is the most critical point that after this point there is no verification. We cannot identify CCP in the start of our line, because after this there are number of verification. We need to identify the CCP as before our final checkpoint, or in simple words, we need to identify the critical point. After that, there is no further checking. For example, if you again talk about Coca-Cola or this water, the CCP, one of the very critical CCP is the filling point, right? The nozzle which they are going to use for the filling purpose, this is considered as the CCP, because after this there is no checking. But the line comes from one point to another point, it's no problem. In between, we can apply the CPs, not the CCP. CCP is the critical control. I'm not saying last. I'm saying that after this, there is no verification. It could be the mid of the process.
Like we do see here.
Mhm.
That can be considered as critical control.
Right. It depends on you. That what we need to say, that after that there is no further verification. So this control has to be applied all the time. If CCP is going to be failed, it means non-conform. If CCP is going to be failed, which means our product cannot go out. You want to know? If the CCP is going to be failed, it means our product cannot go out. It will come under the categorization of non-conform. Then we have to establish the limits. That what are the limits which we are going to apply? Which limit we can say that it is safe, it is acceptable, and which limit, if it goes beyond this limit, we will say that it's going to be rejected. It's the product is going to be failed. So we need, it could be a range, it could be a single digit, it's up to us.
It needs to be measured. It needs to be measured.
Yes, it needs to be measured, because all the CCPs are required to have the monitoring available. When the auditor comes, they are asking, okay, how many CCPs you have identified? You say we have 3 CCPs in our process. Okay, bring the record of monitoring of CCPs. How do I ensure that the CCP is up to the mark? Right, so that's why we need to do the monitoring of our CCPs. Maybe on hourly basis, maybe on 2 hourly basis, maybe on the startup shift. So it depends. Right, sometimes the companies, they are using the filters for any food product. So they say we are going to change the filter at the start of each shift, and in between we are not going to disturb this filter. Or if we are going to make any changeover, then we are going to again change the filter.
Filters, you are also using the filters. Filters are, and I don't know the purpose of other filters. It's not a food grade. You change the
Filters are not the food grade, basically. The flow we need to see, the flow of air, right? How much the particles are they are going to take. It depends on the food or non-food. So if the filters, we have a cleaning mechanism available, and we see that after having a testing of filter, there is no foreign particles which are going to join our food product, no problem, right? But there is no special filter food grades It's mainly depend on the flow of the air.
Food grade, but we have a filter changes which are using for transfer the food grade transfer.
Now, I still have to check. Check on.
Yeah, right.
Check.
Now this random we need to make a periodic. Right? Instead of random, now we need to make a schedule that according to this schedule we are going to check, and the record is available. Right? That's why I'm saying that many things we are doing for the quality. These are all acceptable. But when it comes to food safety, we need to have additional. We have to have more care about these things. Then we develop the monitoring. Now, see, you have identified it's a critical point for us. Then you define the limit. Now, develop the monitoring mechanism. How are you going to monitor this CCPs? You need to keep the record. You are using it manually. An operator is doing this thing. It's the software-based monitoring. How are you going to do? What is the frequency of this monitoring? We need to have the procedure of it. How we are going to do the monitoring. If any problem comes while we are doing the monitoring, corrective actions. If everything fine, let's move further. Right? Whenever we have our quality team, they are doing the checking, they are doing QC activities. So if there is any problem, they are going to ask you, okay, take the corrective action. Hold the product, take the corrective action, then it is going to be released. So similarly here also, when we are doing the monitoring, if any problem comes, we are going to take the corrective action. Otherwise, we will go directly. And then the verification of our CCPs, that our CCP is up to the mark. Our CCP is working fine. Our CCP is under control. The verification, as I told you, that verification in terms of the supplier declaration, verification in terms of we are using, for example, for our flow of water, we are using SS pipes, right? So this stainless steel pipe, let's say it is food grade pipe, right? It is SS grade pipe. It is not the mild steel pipe. So there are certain things which we need to focus. And when the situation have like yours, where you are doing the food safety and food and non-food products, you have to bifurcate. Ideally, as I told you, we need to keep some dedicated line. There is only one line. Then again, we need to apply the control of time period. Okay, from this time period to this time period, we are running this batch, and here during this time period, we are meeting all the requirements of food safety. But for the other days, no problem. Other time, no problem. When someone will come to audit you or to verify you from your customer side or from the auditing side, you have to provide them a clear justification, right? That how we are going to apply, because it's not the 100% or all the time you are going to apply, but this period where their products are working, you need to apply. For example, we have a lot of textile companies. They are making the orders for IKEA, Walmart, many companies. So similarly, for example, Albec, they do outsource for their for the bakery products. They do outsource, and that food company is also making the other bakery products. So they say, okay, whenever is your batch time, it's going to be a plan. From this time to this time, our food inspector will be there. You got my point? So other than this time period, when our batch is off, do whatever you want. We are not asking you anything. But when our batch is going on, you have to follow. Similarly, IKEA, Walmart, they also do the same thing. That if my pieces, let's say you have the order for garments for 10,000 pants, when these 10,000 pants are going to be manufactured, our inspector, our guidelines, our all requirements should be implemented, and we will come without any information. We are going to do the mock of the unannounced audit for you. Other than these 10,000 pants, whatever you do, it's your own. So similarly, Arasco is also going to do the same, or any food company who is going to work with you and they put the requirement. They say, okay, if you are producing non-food, we have no concern. But at the time of our food production, you have to follow this, right? Then we need to have the document. We cannot say that the HACCP study is here in our minds, in our heart. We have HACCP study. No, it has to be documented. The record shall be available. We cannot say that, yes, we are monitoring. Really, we monitor. We closely monitor. We every time monitor. We have the team available for monitoring. And at the end of the day, you don't have any record of it. So, record are basically the evidence of our compliance. What is record? Record is simply the evidence of our compliance, that we have done this activity. How do we know that you have done this training? So you will have attendance sheet available. You will have picture available, that it is the record. If tomorrow someone asks you, okay, did you have the training yesterday? You will say yes. He will be asking you, how do I believe? So you can show attendance sheet, you can show pictures, right? So these are all evidences. The evidence is basically, the record is basically the evidence of our compliance, that yes, we have followed. You have the preventive action plan available. After 1 year, the auditor comes and he asks you, how did you perform the preventive action? So you will show him the preventive action reports, that this is the plan against which we have done the preventive maintenance. So if there is no record and plan is there, how do we believe that you have done it on time or no? Right? So documentation is very necessary. Sometimes, as I told you, that we are trying our best to keep the documentation as less as possible, but we cannot say that there will be zero documentation. There are some additional documents which you have to use for the food safety purposes. Okay, HACCP is a preventive standard for food safety. Very good. HACCP is a part of this one, the ISO 22, FSSC 22, BRC, IFS, and SQF. Which of them is not the HACCP principle? Identify hazard, identify CCPs, establish critical control limits, or identify good manufacturing practices? D. Very good. We have water here. Yeah. Okay, now there are certain requirements which we have discussed. They were the technical requirements. We have certain requirements which are the management system requirements. Thank you. Thank you. We'll do it at the end. So, as far as the management system requirements are concerned, what we need to do, we need to identify the internal and external issues. What are the issues? Issues are those which can have effect on our product or our services. We need to identify the issues. For example, old infrastructure is one of the issue, right? Old infrastructure is not in your hand, but it is one of the issue. Now, how we are going to overcome with this issue? We need to have this control available, right? Our infrastructure or our ventilation is improper ventilation, or the design of our building is not supporting the food safety requirement. This is going to be one of the issue. The people in the organization, they are not well aware of the food safety requirement. It is going to be an issue. Now, how to overcome this issue? We need to apply the controls, right? Before, in the HACCP, we have identified the hazards for our food safety. Now we need to identify the issues which can also disturb our food safety system. So we need to identify those issues and we need to apply the control on those issues. Then we need to identify that who are our interested parties. Who are our interested parties? Interested party. What do you mean by interested party? Interested party is the they are one of our interested parties. Who else could be our interested party? Suppliers are our interested parties, and employees are our interested parties, and contractors, vendors, neighbors, legal bodies, certification body,
They are all our interested party. Interested party are those parties which can have effect on our business, or we can affect to their business. If we are going to produce 10,000 drums and we don't have a raw material available from the supplier, we cannot produce it. That is why he is our interested party, right? If your customer is going to cancel the purchase order, to whom you are going to make the drums? So that is why he is your interested party. Our employees, if they decide that we are not going to work, how the company will operate? That's why they are our interested party. Similarly, our neighbors, God forbid, if there is a big fire in the neighborhood, what do you think, that it is not going to affect you? Somehow it is also going to affect you. That's why they are your interested party. If there is a poisonous gas leakage from the neighbor, and he will say, it's my atmosphere, whatever I do. So it is also going to affect our people. So that's why they are interested. And similarly, if it is going to be happen from our side, so definitely they are also going to be affected. If we are not going to comply with the requirements of legal bodies, what will happen? They will make garama, they will make fines, they will make penalties. So they are our interested parties because we have to comply their requirements. Our parent company, right? Our parent company, they are making certain requirements. This FSSC comes from the parent company, right? From the corporate. We have to comply because they are our interested parties. So we need to identify the interested parties, and in second stage, we need to identify their needs and expectations. Right? We need to identify their needs and expectations. Our customer wants our product a safe product. Right? Our suppliers, they want a clear idea, specification about the raw material which they are going to provide. Our supplier want to have their payment clearance on time. Our employees want to have such an environment or a culture where they can perform their job easily, conveniently, where they will find out that we have a professional development in this place. Right? So we need to identify the issues. We need to identify the interested parties. We need to identify their needs and expectations. The third thing comes risk management. Risk management is same as I told you, that we need to identify this is going to be covered with the HACCP side. Then we have food safety policy. Like we had the quality policy, we need to have the food safety policy. What is policy? In ISO, we call policy is a set of commitments. Policy is a set of commitments, and these commitments will come from the top management, right? That these are, for example, our vision. It comes from where? From the top management, right? The policy also comes from the top management. It's a set of commitment which the top management is going to make the commitment that we are committed towards food safety requirement. We will be taking all the actions which are required to protect our food products. We are always strive to meet the needs and expectations of our customers. We will also be applying all the possible continual improvement which is going to enhance our business and give the confidence to our customer that the product which is coming out of the Greif, it's meeting the requirement of food safety. So these are the commitments. Now, how to fulfill these commitments? The commitments are the statements. We will do this, we will do this, we will do this. How to fulfill these commitments? We are going to develop the procedures. Right? You are saying that we will be producing the food safety product. How? Now you will be making the procedure. So the policies, then the procedures, then our forms, record, right? It's the cycle like this. They are linked together. How to make sure that the procedure is being applied? You will be filling the report. You will be filling the form. You will be filling the document. So what we need to do, it comes from the policy. How we need to do, it comes from the procedure. And yes, we have done it. It comes from the form, the report, the template which you are going to fill. Clear? Any question? Then we have the food safety objectives, like we had the quality objectives. Similarly, we need to have the food safety objectives. Objectives are what? Are our improvement. Improvement. Always remember, there is a big confusion in the companies. They think that our routine jobs are our objectives. No. Our routine jobs are not our objective. That, for example, you come every day, you are going to have this toolbox talk with the contractors, you are attending 3 meetings, you are sending 5 emails. It's your routine job. It's not your objective. It's the part of your job description. The company has hired you for this purpose. The objective is something new, something additional, which brings the improvement in the organization. For example, last year you had 10 accidents. Last year you have 5 quality issues, 5 quality complaints. Now you have applied the controls, you have modified the process, you have make the awareness of the people, you have improve your procedures, which is now resulting that instead of 10 accidents, we have now 5 accidents. Instead of 5 complaints, we have now 2 complaints. So these are the objectives. And the objectives, again, it has to be documented. It has to be monitored. It's not again in our mind. We want to improve ourselves. Somebody says, we want to become best company. I ask him how to become best company. What is the definition of the best company? Right? So to prove your statement, you need to have the objectives available. Otherwise, it's only girgir. Right? It's not the concrete things. It's not the statements which are going to influence the people. The direction, the strategy comes from the top management, but it is being applied up to the worker level. Everyone is doing their task. Everyone is doing their task. And ultimately, we are all supporting our strategic objectives of the organization. Right?
Yes. This is the this is the 5 constituent elements that are structure for the
FSSC actually also contains the ISO requirements. So that's why we are discussing these things. Apart from these requirements, there are more requirements in FSSC. These are almost the similar like quality management system.
Okay. So this you have
More
elements have to meet before you.
Additional requirement and prerequisite program. For your organization, since you are already following the requirements of quality, it is easier to go for the food safety. Right? That organization who does not have the quality management system, for them it becomes more difficult. So you can say that you already have 20 to 30% work available for the food safety. But now the only difference is that the way we are going to think. Remember again, before in quality, we were protecting our business. We were protecting our product from the quality issues. Now we are going to protect our product from the food safety issues. That's the major difference. We need to define the scope. We need to that which plant, which facility, which activities we are going to take into the food safety. Are we going to take all the activities? Are we going to take all the plants in the food safety? Whatever scope the management decide, we need to work in that direction. Then responsibilities and authorities, definitely, as we discussed, one of the major responsibility is for the food safety team leader, the food safety team members. Their responsibilities will be defined. It could be in the form of job description. It could be as a part of an additional document could be there, but it has to be documented and it has to be approved by the top management that apart from your regular responsibilities, these are 3 points which you have to do for the sake of food safety also. Right? Training, resources, definitely without resource, any management system cannot, work conveniently. You need to provide the resource. And as we are discussing that maybe we need to work on the condition of floor. We need to work on the issues of the roof, right? We need to apply some engineering controls. We might be possible, we need to change some chemicals. It might be possible we need to change some raw material, right? So definitely resources are required. So the resources portion goes to the top management. Without their provision of resources, the organization cannot fulfill. It is the same thing that I will tie your hand and I'll keep the water here. I'll say, now drink this water. Right? So we need to have the resources available. You have hired us with the resource, right?
Can do like hand to hand.
You have already tied our hands. You have done it already. This is what I'm saying. You have done already. What do you want further? Training. Training is like we are doing the training. Why we are doing the training? One of the purpose for training is to provide the awareness to our team. Even if you apply too much automation in your company, still you are dependent on human, right? And human will be making the mistake. This is by default, right? The human will make the mistake. So training are refreshers. Training are the refreshers. It might be possible you already have certain knowledge, so it is going to give you the refresher. It might be possible you don't have the knowledge, so it is going to enhance your knowledge. We cannot expect that the people will be using dustbin unless we are not going to provide the dustbin. Similarly, the people are not going to use the dustbin unless you are going to guide them that you have to use the dustbin. We have seen many times the companies, they have very good infrastructure, but after 5 years, they don't focus on the preventive maintenance. They think that khalas, now we have spent too much already. Now we are not going to spend anything. So with the passage of time, the things become worse. The passage of time. So it's a continual process. Similarly, also our mind, our brain, it has to be a continuous refresher. There should be a continuous refresher. So the things will remain injected in our mind all the time. Otherwise, we will forget. Control of document system, that how you are going to develop the document, who is going to approve the document, how you are going to change the version of the document, how you are going to take the obsolete document, what level of document will be approved by whom. These things shall be defined clearly. And for this purpose, we will be following the same procedure which you have for the quality management system, right? It is the same thing. Traceability. Traceability is very important in food safety because each single drum is a unique product. It might be possible that I'm taking 500 drums from you and then I'm selling 3 drums to one company, 3 drums to another company, 10 drums to another company. So the traceability of our product is very necessary in food safety. So whether it could be by unique code, whether it could be through nowadays everything is with the what do you call it, barcode, right? We need to define some mechanism for the traceability that up to the end we have our product shall be traceable. Withdrawal and recall. Now it is linked with the traceability. If we don't have a good traceability system available, how we are going to withdraw our product if there is a problem in the food safety? How we are going to recall our product if there is a problem in the food safety? So traceability is very necessary for our products when it goes out of our company. So in case if there is any complaint, in case if there is any problem comes which can affect the food safety system, we can withdraw our product from the market. We can recall our product from our customers, right? Internal audit, management review, corrective actions, these things you are already doing it frequently, time to time. Your internal audits are going on. Similarly, for the food safety, there will be internal audits which are going on. Management review, you will be doing it on periodic interval. And definitely, whenever there is any weakness, whenever there is some requirement which is not met for the standard, you are going to take the corrective actions. Clear? Any question? We need to have a clear communication channels between the internal communication and external communication. Internal communication, how are we going to do the internal communication? By means of emails, by means of meetings, by means of notice boards, by means of awareness sessions, by means of toolbox talks. So these are all means of communication channel. The standard says that the food safety system shall not be an isolated system. It has to be penetrated inside the organization. The people in the organization shall know that we are following the food safety requirement. The food safety system shall not be start from the safety manager office and it ends in the safety manager office. The standard does not want this thing. And that's why standard has in clause number 5, they have clearly written that top management is responsible for the effective implementation of food safety system. Before, in the old version of the standard, there used to be a concept for management representative. That guy is responsible for the maintenance of ISO system. Now they say, no, you can hire someone, you can give this responsibility, but accountability lies to the top management. So similarly, everywhere we need to have the system should be reflected. The system should be reflected in the organization. It's not like it is starting from one office and it ends from another office. It's not the system. That's why we are attending the training from different departments, because we don't want that the system should be for one person. We want the system to be with the organization. If he is on vacation, if he is going to not available, it doesn't mean that the food safety is not going to be followed. We need to have such controls available that, like, you are sitting here in the training, still the production is going on, right? External issues, external communication, for example, communication with the customers, communication with the suppliers, with the legal bodies, standard required must be documented, right? If there is any communication related to food safety, we are not asking about your sales and your finance and these things. No, any communication related to food safety, which is through your external bodies or external interested parties, must be documented. For example, if you receive a complaint from the SFDA, how you have responded to this complaint, what actions have you taken on this complaint? If you have received any complaint from Royal Commission, how you have responded to this complaint, how you have taken the actions, it has to be documented. If you receive a complaint from your customer related to food safety, that how this complaint was treated, how you have done the root cause analysis, this has to be documented, right? So internal communication standard does not emphasize that you must have documentation, but for the external, it has to be internal, no problem. See, with the client, suppliers, government entities, certification bodies. Now, additional requirements, product label, right? These are the third part. FSSC, FSMS, PRPs, additional requirement. So this is the third part, which is additional requirement.
You already covered PRP?
We already covered FSMS. What we were covering is the FSMS. Before we cover PRP. Now it's additional requirement. So the labeling, the product labeling. Again, a standard does not give you any template for the labeling, but it says that the label should be there. Yes, the label, the guidelines for the label, sometimes our SASO is going to provide you, right? The guidelines for the label, our SASO is going to provide for the food product, and even sometimes for the non-food product, SASO is going to provide the guidelines. For example, who told them to use this SASO mark? SASO told them to use this. Who told them to make this barcode, QR code available? SASO told them that. Otherwise, it's up to them. If it is not, sometimes the products, the labeling requirements, they are not optional. There are few requirements which are mandatory. Who told them to write the bottled drinking water? SASO told them to write the bottle. Who told them that you must mention that, for example, it's a recycling product, and sometimes you. So in many food products, they are asked, the SASO is asking to write it to. Who told the cigarette packs that cigarette is harmful or cigarette is a cancer-causing product? Who told? Nobody is going to willing to write by themselves, right? The SASO, our government authorities, they are going to ask them. So similarly, for the product labeling, we need to see that if there is any requirement available on our product from the legal side, we have to follow this requirement. If any requirement comes from our customer side, we have to follow this requirement. And if there is no requirement available, then it's up to us that how we are going to manage our label, right? But
so this is optional, right? If there is no requirements from the customer or the legal system of the right. So I see three different responsibilities, right?
yeah,
But
this is different from traceability. Traceability will have the QR code. That's why sometimes the organization, they just put the QR code that if you want to have all the details, just scan it and you will find all the requirement. We cannot write too much things on the label. Right? Food defense threat assessment. As I told you, that we need to do HACCP and we need to do the TACCP, threat assessment. Any external body, how can they be a problem or issue for our product? I am an external person. I come to your production and I add something in your product. Since I am a very high profile guest, right? So you cannot say anything to me, right? I am an external contractor person and I'm suffering with cold and cough, and I will start coughing in your product. Your own employees, they have the awareness about these things. But what about that guy who is a temporary labor, who is coming from the contractor side, and you don't know whether tomorrow he will be available or not available? So food defense. I remember when we used to go to Afghanistan to do the NATO audits. At that time, it was very popular. I mean, now it's popular all over the world, but especially at that time, it was more popular there. The food which is going to produce for the militaries, for the army, they are safe from outside. If something is happening, it's going to happen from inside. So this is one of the threat. So I'm not saying that your product is very critical product. Alhamdulillah, your product is not much critical, but again, it's a threat, right? So that's why we are going to keep surveillances, right? That's why we need to have those team leaders who are on the floor, they have to be vigilant on these things. So to avoid these we are not going to blame anyone. We cannot have negative thoughts for anyone, but we need to have the control available at the end of the day. The control is for everyone. So we will be doing this, the food threat TACCP studies as well. Then food fraud. Food fraud is another thing, right? Conduct a food fraud vulnerability assessment to identify and assess potential vulnerability. What are the vulnerabilities? The vulnerabilities are those things which are single cases, but this single case can cause a destruction in my product. It's not common. It's one person, it's one raw material, it's one supplier, it's one service provider. Pest management people, they are coming, I think, once in a week for 1 hour, for half an hour. Isolated case. What if he will do something with your product? He will come for half an hour and he has the access for your all area because of his nature of work. He will be going into the office area, he will be going into the production area, he will be going into the raw material area. Pest management is everywhere. So we need to see our logistics, our supply chain. The product here in this facility is safe. It goes to the customer through a third-party contractor. What is going on in between the transportation from Jubail to Riyadh? What are our controls? How do we ensure that up to the client facility, the customer facility, my product should be reached in a safe manner? Right? It might be possible, we have seen many times the drums or the containers, they are having those non-food products. They have the contamination, and in the same container, we have our products. I know in your case, you have the dedicated transports most of the time, but I mean, this is one of the hazards which we need to identify. So up till the product which was at your facility, it was very good, very safe. But when it goes out, it is not being covered, let's say, properly, and it's going to another city. Rain comes, dust comes. When it reaches to the customer will open and he will say, what have you sent to us? So these kind of issues are common. Not very common, but these kind of issues are commonly neglected. We are very good in this facility. But again, as Mr. Faisal told, that what if the storage conditions of the product are not up to the mark, what will happen? At the end of the day, I know I'm working with Greif. My supplier is Greif. I don't know who is the transporter, what are the level of those transport people, what is the level of your logistic of vehicle which has been used to transport. I'm looking the product which comes into my facility. So that's why food defense and food fraud mitigation we have to do. And another thing is the environmental monitoring. Environmental monitoring not for the people, environmental monitoring for just to ensure that our products are safe products. They are being produced in an environment which is safe. For example, particle size. For example, if we are including any kind of water, so what is the TSS? What is the testing of water, testing of air we need to do? So these are the environmental conditions which can affect on our product which we are going to monitor. Right? It's not that environment of ISO 14,000. It's not. There's only that environment which can affect our quality of food safety. We have to monitor.
You need to test the air conditioning software.
Yeah, exactly. If, for example, if water is being used, then we are going to see the water. Otherwise, if water is not being used in your product, we are not going to see this. This is what I'm saying, right? Although water is a critical for our people, but it is not the part of my product. So that's why we are not going to consider. But if tomorrow when we will be coming to perform the let's say audit of health and safety, then we will be asked. You got my point? That how it is going to impact your people, how much controls you have applied. Now in food safety, our ultimate goal is to protect my product. So any kind of testing, any kind of inspection which we are going to do, it's to ensure that this is going to be safe. Storage and warehousing provides sufficient storage spaces to ensure the cross-contamination. Ultimate goal is to avoid the cross-contamination. Food and non-food should be segregated. Food and non-food shall be identified, right? We are not saying that you should make 2 warehouses, but even in a single warehouse, we need to have identification available. We need to have a distance between the food and non-food to avoid any kind of cross-contamination. Implement the FIFO system or whatever, first in, first out, or first enter, first out, whatever system you are going to adopt according to your need, you can adopt. But you need to have the inventory management system available, right? Any question? I have tried to go very fast to finish within timeline, but at the same time, I'm expecting that there are not too much new information which you have gained, but you just have the idea. The essence is that how we need to protect our product. Before we were focusing only on the quality. Now we have to focus quality plus product safety, right? Product safety, because now my product is going to store the food. So if there is a problem, there is a contamination in my product, the food will also be destroyed. When the food is going to be destroyed, the customer will catch me. He is not going to catch any other person. Clear? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any question, you can ask.
Yeah, you mentioned something about